The Oregon legislature is looking at stopping the bleeding in the state revenue picture. I'm Dave Adams. One of the things they're looking at as they look at the state budget is restricting what has been called abuses and overuse of the business energy tax credit, the Betc credit. I talked to Bend Senator Chris Telfer about this.
Central Oregon is very active with renewable energy, and I want to make sure our constituents and our constituent companies are protected from any major cuts that would really endanger their businesses moving forward. I do understand that we've had a lot of abuses with the Betc credit, and they've overspent much more than we ever imagined, and it's paid off. We've got a lot of renewable energy going on in the state. My concerns are some of this renewable energy, these facilities are actually producing energy and shipping it to California. And so I want to make sure that we don't do that. I mean, that's defeating the purpose of it. We also have to balance the need for money in schools and other public safety and other general fund dollars. So where's the balance on incentivizing renewable energy and funding other services in the state of Oregon?
Now, Chris, the Oregon House has passed Bill HB 3680, which puts some limits on Betc, or the business energy tax credit. I understand you're concerned with getting some kind of agreement on this legislation during the limited time left in this special or emergency session.
Yeah, it's going to be, things are moving so fast. I know the House has spent close to 2 weeks on this bill, and they've amended it over and over and over and over again. Therefore, I've not read it. It just passed out of the House. So when it comes over here, if in fact the Senate decides to change it and amend it and amend it and amend it, we've got a little over a week to do that. If it goes back to the House, we will not have a Betc bill because they won't have time to re-vote on it, have it go through committee, et cetera. So because this is such a short session, and that's the problem, is that there's just too much to do and things aren't getting done properly. And so my concern would be, if we don't approve this bill, we won't have any change to the Betc program, and that will cost the state a lot of money because there won't be any spending caps and things like that. We've got to figure out how to do this. And again, I've not read the bill. All I know is that if we in the Senate do not approve the bill as is, we probably will not have a Betc bill.
And that's a bad thing as far as you see.
Oh, because there's so much money in it. My understanding is there are $800 million worth of projects already in the pipeline. $800 million for jobs. We don't have that kind of money in the budget. We just don't have it. So you got to weigh, you got to balance where's the best place to put our money to create jobs. We just expanded the Oregon business development monies and those that qualify for businesses. So, maybe those are better jobs. I don't know. But I know you've got to put a cap on it. We had anticipated during the general session that we would spend $167 million. Well, now we're looking at $300 million. So there's another $150 million that we don't have. So it's going to have to be, but I do think we can tone down some of that $800 million by finding businesses that are, in fact, really going to produce energy for the state of Oregon, for Oregonians, and hire Oregonians, and not abuse the system by merely registering trucks in Oregon so they can get some tax credits, even though the trucks are in Nevada, or they're long-distance trucks, so they're not driving within the state borders. They're just getting the tax credit in the state borders. So, I think there are some ways to look at this and try to, reduce the Betc without harming Oregon companies.
Chris, let's talk about the special session. Are you concerned that its shortness could allow some bad legislation to be passed simply because you're under this tremendous constraint of time?
It is. In fact, an emergency session is to be held when we have an emergency financial situation. With the passage of 66-67, I voted no. I didn't think there was an emergency. We haven't dealt with finances very much because there apparently wasn't much of an emergency. I'm not necessarily opposed to annual sessions as long as we don't spend more than 8 months total in the 2 years, because that's what we're spending now with 6 months 1 year, 1 month the next year or two. But I can tell you 28 days, the month of February, is way too short to do good legislation. There's lots of unintended consequences. People don't even have time to get over here and testify. The grassroots aren't even aware of some of these bills that are flying through here. It's ridiculous. It is crazy, some of the bills that we're getting. They're not well thought out. lots of unintended consequences. It's a bad way to run a state.
Ben Senator Chris Telfer. I'm Dave Adams. Take 5 is a production of 1110 KBND Radio News. Depend on us.